what's up, welcome to my channel. My name is Ndifon Ntui. On this channel I make sewing tutorials. I post new videos on Wednesdays and on Saturdays. Thank you for all your support. Thank you for watching my videos. If you're a beginner or if you're a person who's brushing up on your skill, I offer online courses. I'll be showing a demo how to make a jumpsuit for you to watch, so you can decide if it will be convenient for you to learn online. If you're interested, please send a Telegram message to the number that you can see on the screen. Alright, thank you so much for watching the video. Thank you so much for supporting me, for liking my videos, sharing my videos, and all the other good things that you guys do for me. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next video, but enjoy this video first. Yo, what's up, welcome to another video. In this video I'm going to show you how to make a wrapper skirt. I think that's the best name I have for it. It's basically a straight skirt that has a part in front that acts like that you would treat as you treat a wrapper. So to be able to make this project, you need to see, or you need to know how to cut a long skirt. Now if you don't know how to cut a skirt block, I've made a video that will show you how to cut every single skirt length from a mini skirt all the way to a long skirt like the one that we are working on here. So if you have not seen that video, please make sure to go and see it, how to draft different types of skirts. In that video I explained how to cut each length, and to be able to understand what I've done already, you will need to see that video. Alright, so on the table here I have the two pieces. Here I have the front. I know that because of the colors you might not really see clearly, so this is the front and this part here is the back. Okay, so the wrap that we are trying to make is supposed to sit over the front of the skirt, like you've seen in the in the scene at the beginning of the video. So to achieve that, after we've cut the front and the back separately, the part that we're going to really work on is the front. So you can see this is the front that we have here. I'm going to use the main pattern that I drafted for the front, and I'm going to cut another piece for it that will be the same size. So just simply take your front, put your fabric on the fold, place this on top, and cut an identical piece to the front pattern that you have. So what I have here are the two pieces for the front. Remember I told you to use the main pattern to cut a second piece. So what you're going to do is you're going to open up your skirt on your table. Okay, now the next thing we're going to do is you need to decide how deep the wrapper is going to go. So we're coming from here and going across to the other side, so we need to know how much we want to cover, how much to the side we want the wrapper to go. When you've decided that what you want to do on that, the next thing you're going to do is we're going to have to shorten this piece. So we're going to leave one side of the hip here to be as it is, and then we're going to simply cut this side here to be shorter. So what I'm going to do is, for mine, I don't want it to be too deep, but this should be okay for most people. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to 6.5 inches after my midline. So if you check here, when I was cutting this, I ironed my fabric before I cut, so there's a line running down the center. So I'm going to come from that line to 6.5. I think that should be okay, and I'm going to simply mark 6.5 from the middle line from here all the way down. After this has been done, the next step is to cut the lining for all the parts that you have. So for this piece here that will sit on the front, I'm going to cut my lining to have the same dimensions everywhere, at the top, on the side, on the hip area, on the center that I have here. But at the bottom, I'm going to make it to be shorter than the fabric by 3 inches. Okay, so my lining is going to stop 3 inches before the end. The same thing goes for all the other parts that we have. So alright, so what you can see here, this is what I was talking about. Okay, so you see every other side is going to be the same until you get to the bottom where I have cut the lining shorter. So this is what I mean. So do the same, repeat this step on both the front and the back. Alright, and also I'm going to iron interfacing onto my fabric, so woven fusible interfacing if you're in Nigeria, stay. Alright, so now the first thing I'm going to do is, this part here is the front, and I have notched the part where I want to hold my darts. Alright, so I'm going to hold my darts on the fabric and on the lining. Alright, so I'm going to simply hold it. For the length down, I'm going to hold from the top here down, I'm going to hold 4 inches from the top down. Please, when you're done holding your darts, make sure to iron it so that the front here lays flat. Alright, on both the fabric and the lining, make sure to iron both. Alright, so the next part we'll handle is the part of the front that would serve as the wrapper. That's the one that will cover in front. Now this is the one that we trimmed off 6.5 inches from. Alright, so we're going to hold our dart on only the side that still has the hip. Alright, so I'm going to hold my dart here and on the lining. Okay, now since I'm using Ankara to make it, Ankara usually comes with a length of 45 inches, so I'm going to use this as my length. The part I want to cut now is my band. Okay, that's the band that will help us tie our wrapper at the back. So Ankara comes in 45 inches. Okay, so I'm going to use the length of 45 inches, but then I'm going to cut it with a width. I'm going to cut it with a width of 6 inches. So I'm going to cut 6 inches and then tear here straight down. I'm going to do that 2 times, okay, and then I'll show you what to do with each of the pieces that you cut. Alright, so here I have the 2 pieces. So this is the first one, this is the second one. So I'll show you what to do on this one and then repeat the same thing on the other piece. The first thing you are going to do is you're going to collapse the 6 inches on itself and you're going to stitch from here all the way down. Make sure you're turning the correct. Look at here, you can read the ECOWAS. I'm collapsing it, that's the knit side on itself. Alright, so I'm going to stitch from here straight down, consuming half an inch first. After you have done that, next thing I want you to do, after you've stitched here down, I want you to lay it flat like so. So you can see what I just did. Okay, it was like this. Simply pull half of it and lay it flat like so. Okay, so I'm now going to stitch from here straight down. Alright, so after you have made the stitch across, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use my blunt scissors to hold here. If you don't have a scissors, you can use a yardstick or whatever you have next to you. Alright, so now the first part we're going to do is after we've created the belt is this part here. Okay, that's the part that's supposed to sit on top. First thing you're going to do is you're going to join the fabric and the lining together at the waist, consuming only half an inch in the process. Okay, that's what I'm going to do now. After you have joined the waist, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come to the bottom and I'm going to drag the lining. Remember, we cut the lining shorter to be shorter than the fabric by 3 inches. I'm going to drag it and keep it on the same level, and I'm going to stitch from the top, and I'll stitch across it. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the belt. Alright, I'm going to take one of the belts. See this? Take one of your belts and plant it on the inside. Alright, that's what I'm going to do now. Simply take your belt, plant it in between the fabric and the lining at the waist, and I'm going to stitch the straight side. So if you remember where we put our scissors when we're cutting across, when we're cutting from the bottom to the top, we're going to put our belt, the open edge of our belt facing this direction, and we're going to stitch from here all the way down. So next I have the front, that's the actual front. You can see I have my darts here. I have 2 darts here as opposed to 1 on the part that's meant to be the wrapper. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to join the fabric and the lining together at the waist, consuming only half an inch process. Alright, so let me do that. Alright, so with that I have joined the fabric to the lining at the waist. Now what I want you to do is I want you to bring the part, this other part here, where the one that we attached as the first strap to. I want you to bring it into the mix and keep it on the hip area. So remember, this part here was cut. This part here was cut using this original pattern. So on the side here, where we have not cut anything off, is going to be identical to the piece that is underneath. So I want you to basically join them together at this point to keep it in one place. And please make sure to stitch on your lining as well, on the lining of the wrap as well, not the lining of the skirt. I hope that is clear. Alright, so I hope you can see it. We have successfully attached this one together at the hip from here all the way down to the hem. Now the next thing I want you to do is we need to attach this part here. You see this other strap? This one is going to go around the back of your waist and is going to meet this one on the other side. So what we're going to do is just to simply make a stitch that will hold this belt here. Alright, next step is to, that's the back. Alright, so whatever I do to the fabric and lining on this part, be sure to do it on the other side as well, but just regular dots at the back. Alright, so now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to leave my space for my zipper. So I'm going to start from around 9 inches to hold my zipper, and I'm going to hold the zipper allowance that I kept of 2 inches. Now I'm going to sew until I get from here until I get to 22 inches. Okay, the 9 until I get to 22, after which I'm going to stop. Alright, that's where I want my slits to be. Right, and then also repeat the same thing on your lining. Right, so now the next step is to fix the zipper on your fabric as you would usually handle your zipper. Alright, so with that I have installed my zipper. So next step, I want you to zip down, lay your zipper flat, get your lining, alright, and then you pick out the side that matches. Okay, so you're going to keep the clean side facing the clean side of your fabric. That's how you know the side that matches. And I'm going to join the waist from here all the way down. I would also join the waist of the other side as well. Okay, after you sew the waist, what you're going to do, you're going to turn over to the correct side, to the part here where you have your stitching. That's the inside of your fabric. Okay, and you're going to lay it flat. See the way I've laid my lining flat at the back. I'm going to try to stitch as close to my blue stitch. This blue stitch you can see here that's holding my zip. I'll try to stitch as close to it as possible from here all the way down to the end of the stitch. The next thing is to work on the bottom part here. Okay, so what we're going to do, and whatever I do to this side I'll do to the other side. So you see here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this to face inside out. I'm going to stitch from the center here, but when I'm running towards the side I will stop before 2 inches before the end. Now, the next thing we're going to do is this. We're going to turn here inside out. See this? We're going to pick here up. You see where both our stitch stop. This is why you need to make sure that where you stopped is the same on both the fabric and the lining. I'm going to join here to the fabric So you see what we have here. I'm now going to stitch from the bottom up to this point here. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do now. Alright, so now this is time to give it a good press. With that, we have fixed our zipper and we have made our slits. Okay, it's just to iron this so that everything lays smoothly, and then we'll be back so we can proceed to the next step. Alright, so now the next step is to join the front and back together. So with what we've just done, we've made our slits. Okay, we've created our slits at the bottom here, and this is our zipper. So the next thing we're going to do now is to attach the front and back together. Okay, so you see this, the first thing we're going to do is this. I'm going to lay my front down so you see what's happening. So this part here is where we tacked on our band and where we have the wrapper part and all of that. You see that? We're going to lay that part down, and then I'm going to get the skirt part. You see this here? This is the back part. I'm going to open it up, and we are going to stitch whatever allowance we kept. So for me, it's 1.5. I'm now going to sew 1.5 inches from here all the way down. Alright? That's what I'm going to do now. From here, it should lead us straight to where we have the hem. Okay, so after stitching all the way down here, we're going to come to this other side and repeat the same thing. I'm going to stitch from here all the way down. That's now I'm stitching on the lining. Make sure to hold whatever allowance you hold on the fabric on the lining. Alright, and then simply repeat the same thing on the opposite side. Okay? So on this other side of the waist, it's still going to be the same thing. Fabric to fabric, lining to lining. I'm going to stitch my 1.5 from the fabric all the way into the lining. Now you have an option. You can finish here by stitching across it like I would do now, or you can also use hemming tape to neatly finish it if you want. So now the next step is to give this a really good press, and we'll be done. So this is the waist that we have. The rope comes over like so and goes around the back, alright, and meets with this other rope over here. So that's how you go about making a wrapper, a skirt that has a wrapper. I don't know the name to call it again. I'll give this a good press, and this is how I made what you saw in the first clip that you saw. Alright, so thank you for watching this far into the video. If you have a lovely day. Bye bye.